This week in Grace's Girls Club, we are welcoming a close friend of mine, as well as a true Renaissance woman to Grace's Girls Club. I want to introduce you to Lindsey. Lindsey, we're so glad you're here. Thank you for coming on the show. Please introduce yourself. Tell us where you work and what it is that you do.
I'm Lindsey Barron, and I work a lot of places, but I work for Strata-G Solutions, and I'm here as a proposal capture manager for them, strictly focused right now on Black Hawk helicopter world.
And walk me through a little bit of your day to day. You and I, in time off camera, we're talking a little bit about what got you to this point, which we'll touch on that later, but a little bit of the day to day of what that's like. People hear Black Hawk helicopters, we don't really know what to think.
Well, a lot of people don't really realize all the work that goes on Redstone Arsenal each and every day. And so I started out in the DoD contractor world a long time ago, back in 2010, and I started out working on Black Hawk helicopter software. And so from there, it just grew over time. I ended up working for the government directly, and I came out of that about a year ago. And so since then, I've been working at Strategy Solutions, and my day to day looks different every day. Some days I'm on Redstone Arsenal, I'm meeting with customers. Other days I'm here providing technical solutions to the team as we work proposal activities for new efforts that are coming out of the Army. And so, according to what the flavor is that day, I may be doing proposal work, I may be doing customer relations work, I might be touring facilities with people, all of the above.
And that's probably part of what you like about it is kind of getting to have a hand in each of those different avenues.
I do. I love to be out and about with people. People that know me obviously know that. And so it gives me an opportunity to be able to go out, share what I know and the experience that I've had both as a contractor and as a government employee, and then be able to take that and turn it into fruitful opportunities for the contractor I currently work for.
Absolutely. So, of the letters in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, which would you say you use most on a daily basis?
I would say in this role, I definitely use the engineering most, but we definitely have a flavor of everything. And so the company here builds drones, and so we definitely see a little bit of everything. We work on Black Hawk helicopters, we work on Air Force platforms, we do engineering modifications to aircraft that are have products that are going to go obsolete, and so we use a little bit of everything. So as a facility as a whole, we use all of those pieces of that puzzle. But me day to day, I probably use my engineering skills the most in my day to day work.
And that's actually a perfect segue. I want to talk to you about educationally, how you got to where you are today, but then also what educational advice on whether or not to have an internship, what specific classes to take, what educational advice you might have as well.
Okay, so I started out with a computer science degree, which got me that first job in the contractor world developing software for the Department of Defense. However, I also found out that those computer science people would like to sit behind their cube walls and really program all day. And God did not make me for that. And so it didn't take long for me to realize that I much preferred being out. I started taking the meetings from a management perspective and being out meeting with those customers. I was able to communicate back and forth between a customer and my team members and be able to get requirements back and forth. And so that served me really well. I went back and got a master's degree in leadership and management so that I could continue to learn how to, one, know the business skills, and two, be able to communicate them effectively. From my perspective, that degree is so important. But in college, they don't teach you the skills necessary to really work in the workplace in this field. And so you come into this field and you're really green when you come in. And so if you've got an opportunity to go out, get that internship while you're in college, or even just after, if you have to take that time and do 6 months of an internship, it will serve you so well. And it'll also help you decide if you can do it while you're in college, if it's something that you really want to do long term. And so if I'd had that opportunity in college to do an internship in computer science, I would have realized they would like for me to sit and be quiet, and I probably wouldn't have selected that field to finish my degree in. However, it served me very well over the years to be able to have that math skill set for sure, and to be able to navigate the computer world easily. And so I don't regret those decisions. However, it would have helped me a lot along the way had I had the opportunity to go in, sit down, do that internship, and really learn what the job is day to day and know if you're going to enjoy it long term.
Absolutely. And I completely agree with you. I think exposure is a huge part of one, what we even see ourselves as what we could become one day, but then two, to your point, making sure this is something that you really want to do.
Absolutely.
So Lindsey, walk me through who might be a good candidate for your field. And what I mean by that, if I was talking about an on-camera meteorologist, I would say someone that functions well under a time crunch, right, on TV. Someone with a protector instinct for severe weather. Someone that is very math, very thermodynamics brained, takes big scientific concepts but makes them very understandable to everybody. That would be the characteristics of someone who would succeed here. What might be the characteristics of someone who would succeed in your field?
In our field, in this engineering world, if your child started out building Lego figures, and then they continue to take them from the box design and build new things from them, and they don't just throw them in the box and they just become a muddle of all the different colors, they probably have a little bit of an engineering mindset. And so we love to see people come into this field that are very methodical. They're very process driven, but they also can think outside the box. So we want them to follow a process. We want to deliver a quality product. We want it to be consistent all the time. However, to get to that product, we also have to have that skill set that can design it. And so we don't need status quo. We need somebody that can think outside of the box, that can take what we currently have as a product maybe and refine it, make it better. And so we do need those that can think a little bit further, a little bit deeper, and they can think past what's in their hands and what they can see. But then in addition to that, they need to be very organized. They need to have a very methodical mindset. They need to be able to follow processes easily as they go through their day. And so their day is going to look different all the time, but it's very process driven. The engineering world is very process driven. And so we want somebody with that skill set as they come into this world. But then we also need just the opposite of that. And so we need those big thinkers. We need people that can go out and say, oh, there's a problem with that part. Maybe we can take that part off of a helicopter and completely redesign it. And so we've got both of those worlds here where people can go out and they can be the good idea fairies that we call them. And so they can think about all the cool things that could be. And then we have those people that are really methodical thinkers that come back and take those ideas and say, okay, this is how we can put that to work and how we can put it into action. And it takes both sides of that world to make it turn here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's a great point. And I like that you kind of talked about the two different ways that this can apply to folks. So, Lindsey, walk me through, you mentioned it earlier, the number of jobs on Redstone Arsenal. What was it that made you choose this exact field? You kind of shared about some of the characteristics that led you here, but what made you say, I want to work with these helicopters, I want to work on this, have my hands in every single piece of the puzzle kind of way? What was it that really made this so attractive to you?
When I got my computer science degree, I really understood computer work. I understood software, I understood building software and the implications of that. However, once I started building software, I realized it was installed on a product. And so then I thought, well, I never actually saw that box, or I never actually saw that fly. And so then once I got to be able to go plane side and see software running on an actual helicopter, and so I got to see that digitally displaying information that I programmed in the background, I had an aha moment where I said, oh, I can actually touch that. And so I may not be able to touch the software, but I can touch the product it's installed on. And so then it gave me the visibility to be able to say, oh, all of these products in this cockpit have software running on them. And so then it became a bigger picture to me. Then I realized my desire to be able to see it, to be able to touch it, to be able to watch it fly. And so from going from programming in a cubicle to being able to see software that you developed in multiple areas take off and fly off of an airfield is a really big difference to me. And so I needed to see it and I needed to touch it. And once I saw that, I realized that then I could help navigate major changes to aircraft platforms. And so we could be able to see it in a bigger scale. And once I saw that side of it, then I realized, oh, I think I can put all the pieces together to make them work together to do aircraft modifications at a much larger level and then at a fleet level so that we can get the whole fleet upgraded. And so being able to see the bits and pieces along the way and take a bigger bite and a bigger bite and a bigger bite, it drove me to where I'm at today, to where I can go back and sit down with a customer and say, okay, you have this piece of hardware that's going to become obsolete at some point, and we have 7,000 aircraft that carry this piece of hardware. We need to redesign it, and these are your opportunities to be able to save money up front and have a part that's on the shelf ready to go when an aircraft fails in the field. And so it took me a while to get to that place of understanding the big picture, but it also was being able to see it, touch it, put my hands on it, and then actually come back and go, oh, I can help find solutions for that.
That is so cool. You are exactly what you just described as someone who would be successful in the field. Very methodical, you figured it out, but then it jumped off the screen for you and you were able to say, okay, how can I expand on this and think proactively? That is so cool.
It was definitely an aha moment. It was enlightening for me. And I didn't even know that it was an opportunity from a career path perspective. When I started, when I was in college, I had no idea. I loved computers. I loved to type at a very young age. And I loved to be able to see things change on screen. Little did I know that I would be able to see them change an entire aircraft platform by the time I got to a certain place in my career. And so that was really cool to take something that really drove me as a child to watch things perform on a screen, to then be able to see them on big screens in Washington, D.C., be able to show platform changes altogether.
That's awesome. Talk about, I mean, you say change the world and create an impact. That is genuinely what you are doing on a large scale. That is so cool. So, would you say that's the best part of your job, or is there something else that you would say is probably the highlight?
The highlight of my day is always people. I'm a people person through and through. And so if I can change an aircraft for our military, fantastic. I'm impacting people that way. However, personal relationships are so important to me. And if I can help drive an intern or a student into their career path that really is going to make them successful in life and help them see their dreams at an early age and see what they're able to achieve, that's a win-win for me. If I can see people in the workplace that I can see they have a skill, but maybe they're not in the right position, or maybe they're not being used appropriately, and being able to help them navigate to a different area where their skills really shine, or where they can fulfill a weakness and learn how to, taper that weakness back down so it doesn't show through, but instead show their strengths where they need to. I'm people all the way through. And so I'm an anomaly probably in this environment where not everybody here is a people person. A lot of people here have brains that are turning 24/7 and putting out new ideas. And I like to take those and be able to present them to a customer, but I'm a people first always.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, if that's the best part of your job, what would perhaps be the most challenging?
I think probably for me, the most challenging part of the job is that we may have an idea or we may have a solution that would help the warfighter in the field if they had it today or if they had it tomorrow. And the process is just really long. It's really strenuous, which it needs to be in order to make sure that they're safe in the field. The time of that sometimes puts us in a predicament where we know there's a solution that may save lives down the road, but we can't get it to them quite quick enough in the field. And so just that time frame for us in being able to provide a solution and get it to the warfighter in a timely manner is probably the most challenging part for me.
Absolutely. Honestly, I wouldn't even have thought of that, but as soon as you started saying it was, oh, of course. I mean, get as many tests as you need to make sure this is as tested, as safe, as accurate, as efficient as it needs to be, but also do that as quickly as humanly possible. I bet that's a real challenge.
It is. It can be really, really stressful. Sometimes they need things in the field really quickly and they don't know that they're going to have a failure until they have it that first time.
Yeah.
And so you need to be able to turn a solution quickly, but it needs to be safe when it makes it to their hands. And the being able to be thorough through that testing process and qualifying that product before it hits the field is really important. It does take time. It takes resources to do that. And so sometimes, we can't put the cart before the horse, but we want to. We want it in their hands. We know we have a solution, but we also need to make sure that that solution is as safe as possible before it gets to them.
Absolutely. And that's kind of where you come in, I would imagine, is in how you were saying your proactive thinking. If we can identify the need or at least the footsteps of that need while we're still working on this, we can identify how to fix it in 5 years from now. That probably helps the whole process.
That's the goal, is that we get to these customers quickly. We know a lot of these aircraft platforms have been around for a very long time. We know what products are on them. We've done a lot of modifications, especially with this company, to modify those products to make them better, to make them stronger, to make them last longer. But we also know products that are becoming obsolete or will become obsolete at a certain point. And sometimes those customers are in the day-to-day. Those Army management is in the day-to-day. They're in the grind. And so sometimes they're not forward looking as far out as maybe we can as a contractor, and provide a prototype solution for them to go and check out and say, does this compare? Is it similar enough that we can qualify this product? And so we love being able to get out in front of the need and put that in front of a customer and say, we think we have a solution, and then be able to come back and qualify that product and have them a solution before they start bringing aircraft to the ground, because they need products that just aren't there.
Wow. This is making me feel all warm, fuzzy, and patriotic. I just love that you guys are on our
Get your
side, you
flag
know?
out.
I love that. You're
Get your
protecting our
flags out.
boys. All right, well, Lindsey, one last question for you. I want to know if you had a message to young students or just in general, young girls that were interested in joining the STEM workforce, what would your message of encouragement be to them?
One thing that I've always done is followed my dreams. And people don't always understand your dreams. They don't always understand your heart's desires. And I just say, always follow your dreams. You will find a way to get there if you will just continue to push hard. Don't give up. There's a lot of glass ceilings, they say, in this world, and I don't believe in that. I will tell you right now, hard work pays off every single day. And if you'll just stay committed to that dream and to that passion, it'll show in your work.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Couldn't agree more. Stamp a check mark on it. Well, Lindsey Barron, thank you so much for being here. Welcome officially to Grace's Girls Club.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity, Grace.